This is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, federal government condemns what it calls a fraudulent effort by a Chinese company to take over some jets on Nigeria's presidential air fleet as ordered by a French court. President Bola Tinubu and his Equatorial Guinean counterpart Teodoro Obiang Nguema Basogo signed a landmark gas pipeline agreement that will enable both countries to inject legislative measures to provide regulatory framework for ownership and transit of natural gas. And Edo APC continues preparations for the September governorship election, holds mega rally in Aochi in Edo North.
And on business news, Debt Management Office set to issue first series of its dollar-denominated domestic bond on August the 19th. The target is to raise $500 million from local and foreign investors.
On sports, the 2024-2025 English Premier League season kicks off on Friday night with Manchester United taking on Fulham at Old Trafford.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, a female Chief Justice of Nigeria, Kudirat Kekere, takes over from Justice Olukaze Aluola. She becomes the Apex Court's second Chief Justice after the first Chief Justice, Mariam Aloma Mukhtar, sworn in 12 years ago.
And in international news from London, a federal-level emergency situation has been declared for the Russian region of Belgorod after 23 drone attacks in just 24 hours.
The federal government has described as fraudulent efforts by Chinese company Zhongzhan Fucheng Industrial Investment Company Limited to take over some jets on Nigeria's presidential air fleet. A statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, says the federal government is not under any contractual obligation with the company. Mr. Ononuga was responding to reports that a French court had sanctioned the seizure of 3 Nigerian presidential jets, including a newly purchased Airbus, amid a legal dispute between Zhongshan and the Ogun State government. The statement reads in part, quote, "The federal government is not under any contractual obligation with the company. The case in which Zhongshan is trying to use every unorthodox means to strip our offshore assets is between the company and the Ogun State government." End quote. The statement further states that the Chinese company must have misled the Judicial Court of Paris regarding the use and nature of the assets it seeks to attach and did not fully disclose to the court as required by law, having failed to enforce similar judgment in the United Kingdom and the United States. Mr. Ononuga, however, says the federal government is working with the Ogun State government to discharge the frivolous order in Paris immediately. Meanwhile, the Ogun State government has described the ruling by the French court as unfair and threatens to contest the order. The French court grounded the jets due to a contract dispute between the Ogun State government and Zhongshan, a Chinese company. The contract between the two parties, however, hit a deadlock and was revoked by the state government back in 2016. Following this disagreement, the Chinese firm took both the state government and the federal government to court, prompting the French court to seize the 3 presidential aircraft within its jurisdiction. Earlier, an independent arbitral tribunal had awarded Zhongshan approximately $74.5 million in compensation, which the Ogun State government is disputing. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Media and Strategy, Kayode Akimade, the state government condemned the development as a new tactic by the Chinese company to seize Nigerian assets in foreign jurisdictions, noting that past efforts had continually failed. According to Mr. Akimade, the contract between the state and Zhongshan was executed in 2007, 12 years before the Dakwa Abiodun-led government came into office. He, however, says the Ogun State government, in conjunction with the federal government of Nigeria, has taken swift action to ensure that the provisional attachments in the ruling are lifted without delay. The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has described the seizure of aircraft in Nigeria's presidential air fleet as an international embarrassment. According to him, the trending international news on the seizure of the 3 jets belonging to Nigeria's presidential fleet is yet another of many embarrassing things exposing the failed leadership and the attitude to the rule of law, even in a democracy, adding that it has also exposed multiple dimensions to the leadership failure and its insensitivity to the plight of the growing poor class in society. In his words, quote, "The fact that the federal government went ahead with the jet deal despite the cacophonous cry against the purchase of a presidential jet at this time, when the people are going through a horrifying economic hardship, shows the insensitivity of this administration," end quote. Mr. Peter Obi therefore challenged the federal government to come clean and transparent on this matter by telling Nigerians how the nation got into this international mess. To the courts now, and the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ordered the interim forfeiture of a cash sum of $2.0545 million linked to the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele. Justice Akitayo Aluko also ordered the interim forfeiture of 7 landed properties linked to the suspended CBN governor. A part of the lands listed include 2 fully detached duplex of identical structures and situated at number 17B Hakim Odumosu Street in Lekki Phase 1, Lagos, a bungalow lying, being and situated at number 65A Oyikan Abayami Drive, formerly Queen's Drive in Ikoyi of Lagos, industrial complex under construction on a 22 plot of land lying, being and situated in Agbo of Delta State, and a full duplex together with all its appurtenances on a plot of land measuring 2,217.87 square meters, lying, being and situated at 2A Bank Road, Ikoyi, Lagos, just to name a few. Now, Justice Aluko further ordered the interim forfeiture of 2 shares of certificates of Queensdorf Global Fund Limited Trust. The judge made the interim forfeiture orders today after taking an application for the orders in the suit filed and moved by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission counsel Rotimi Oyedepo, who led Chineye Okezie and Zinat Atikubala. President Bola Tinubu and his counterpart from Equatorial Guinea, President Teodoro Obiang Mbasogo, have signed a landmark agreement on the Gulf of Guinea pipeline project, paving the way for increased economic cooperation and development between the two nations. The agreement, signed in Malabo, the capital of Equatorial Guinea, outlines key measures for the gas pipeline project, including legislative and regulatory frameworks, ownership and transit of natural gas. Our State House correspondent, Lanre Lasisi, reports.
Traditional dancers and people waving flags waiting for the arrival of President Bola Tinubu. Immediately he arrives, he's received by the Prime Minister of Equatorial Guinea, Mrs. Manuela Roca Bote. From there, he's taken to the presidential palace and welcomed by President Teodoro Obiang Mbasogo. After a military parade, the two leaders are led to the highlight of the day's event, the signing of an agreement on the Gulf of Guinea pipeline project. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Togar, and his counterpart also signed the agreement. President Tinubu hailed the agreement as a significant step towards opening up new opportunities for gas exploration and employment, while also emphasizing the need for African nations to work together to promote peace, stability, and prosperity on the continent.
We have to look inwards to solve these problems for ourselves. We equally discuss areas of security, marine, blue economy, what intercontinental agreement will do for us to promote, food sufficiency for Africa.
The president of Equatorial Guinea said bilateral relations with Nigeria over many years have been rewarding and emphasized the need to deepen cooperation across salient areas. President Tinubu was then led to a state dinner in his honor. Speaking at the event, the president employed African leaders to make more strategic and deliberate efforts to address the exodus of skills and talent from Africa.
Our problem is not that we don't understand what to do. We identify them, we understand what to do. Our problem is how and when we should do them. And I say the time is now.
President Tinubu is on a 3-day official visit to Equatorial Guinea, which is to feature a review of opportunities to improve bilateral relations between the two countries. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
A network of civil society organizations from Ecowas is warning that the sub-region is on the edge of disintegration as countries exit the regional bloc. The group, under the aegis of West Africa Democracy Solidarity Network, is attributing the disintegration to a decline in democratic values among member states, citing military interventions and a rejection of democratic principles. The coordinator of the network, Mr. Paul Kufo, says the exit of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger from ECOWAS will have far-reaching implications for political stability, security, and socio-economic integration in the region.
I think ECOWAS recognizes the need to hold on to the stability of the sub-region, and they are putting forward a lot of measures to ensure that the sub-region remains intact and unified as it is. We've analyzed the implications of this exit, that it is likely to cause further instability and disintegrate the sub-region. It also has socio-economic implications, because what will happen to the citizens from these countries staying in countries that belongs to ECOWAS but has no relationship with these countries that have exited. What we have failed to do is to keep a constant watch and oversight on the norms and values that we set for democracy, especially the institutions for delivering the promise and aspirations of democracy must be working. And here we're talking about institutions like the local government system must be well connected to citizens. So we need to revisit the conversation around democracy and get the institutions to work, because the institutions that connect citizens to whatever government is doing. As we stand now, the institutions are captured. If you look at Parliament, which should be the voice of the citizens, who should provide an oversight over our executive, these institutions are all not working. The way forward is to have a frank conversation, and the citizens must get involved.
Now, the All Progressives Congress is assuring the people of Edo State that a vote for the party will translate to progress for the state in every sector. At the third day of this party's statewide campaign, leaders of the party, as well as the governorship candidates, solicited the support of indigents of Edo North Senatorial District and promised to bring development to them.
It's day 3 of the All Progressives Congress statewide campaign rally in Edo State ahead of the September 21st governorship election, and party leaders and supporters converged on the sports ground of the Auchi Polytechnic in Esako West local government area. The venue is filled to capacity and attendees are in high spirits, as on Tuesday and Wednesday the reinstated Deputy Governor of the state, Philip Tribal, joins prominent party members for the occasion. Our former governor of the state, Adams Oshomole, reiterates the commitment of the APC to developing Edo State.
Esako West, my own local government. Have you seen any one new school built by Obaseki? Have you seen new teachers being employed into the schools that are built? All these ceramic tiles we use to build schools in Edo State were made by a Chinese company that came to establish ceramic factory while I was governor of Edo State. Did we do MOU? That is why the next governor, he knows what to do.
The governorship candidate of the party in the forthcoming elections, Monday Okpolo, speaks on his determination to improve the lives of the state's indigents.
We are going to do the extraordinary thing to make this place repositioned for industrial park. Una dey see water here. This government not promising our water. Una get water. Na MOU government. Now water in under our government. Una go get water. Our first 100 days in office, we should be able to employ over 5,000 teachers.
Stand up for the chosen one. The champions are here.
As the election draws nearer, the APC are hopeful that their efforts will convince the people of Edo State to vote them into Osadebe House.
In part two, after the break, we'll bring you more on politics, this time in Ondo State, where two candidates are jostling for the Labour Party governorship ticket. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live from Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Federal government condemns what it calls a fraudulent effort by a Chinese company to take over some jets on Nigeria's presidential air fleet as ordered by a French court. President Bola Tinubu and his Equatorial Guinean counterpart Teodoro Mbasogo signed a landmark gas pipeline agreement that will enable both countries inject legislative measures to provide regulatory framework for ownership and transit of natural gas. Edo APC continues preparations for the September governorship election, holds mega rally in Auchi in Edo North. And the federal level emergency situation has been declared for the region of Belgorod after 23 drone attacks in 24 hours. The Labour Party maintains that the Deputy National Chairman of the party, Mr. Ayo Olorunfemi, remains the candidate of the LP, that's the Labour Party, for the Ondo State governorship election. While speaking on Channels Television Sunrise Daily, Mr. Olorunfemi describes the Secretary General of the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Political Organization of Afenifere, Mr. Olushola Ibiseni, as an imposter.
At a point, we'll stop it. By the time, in the next 2 weeks, we are moving to the field. We can't be on the field and it will be on the field. And there's somebody whose name is in the INEC portal, except somebody wants to go to jail. Are you getting what I'm saying? You cannot claim to be a candidate of the party when your name has not been submitted by the party leadership. So when the INEC has not accepted your name
in other words,
and uploaded your name,
he's impersonating.
Of course, I've looked at that. I said, is he impersonating? Because it's not saying he's Ayo Olorunfemi. So he's an imposter. And I asked somebody, being an imposter, is it justiciable? I'm here to get an answer.
Meanwhile, the governorship candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Olushola Ibiseni, has refuted claims that he is not the candidate of the party for the November 16th governorship election. He dismissed the claims during his courtesy visit to the Oba of Akure. Mr. Ibiseni maintains that he's rooted in the Labour Party and has the backing of most party leaders.
I'm rooted in Labour Party and do not need anybody to tell me about Labour Party. I have no apology for whatever anybody says, but I can assure you the large number of leaders, of national leaders of Labour Party that you see here will convince you that I am the candidate of the Labour Party. Yes, you could hear whatever you wanted to hear from anywhere. It does not distract from the fact that I am the candidate of the Labour Party. I do not want to join issues with people on it.
So let's now head to the nation's capital, and Gloria Umezoke is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Gloria.
Many thanks, Ayo. Ahead of the retirement of Justice Olukayode Ariwola as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the National Judicial Council at its 106th meeting, presided over by the outgoing Chief Justice of Nigeria, held on the 14th and 15th of this month, has recommended Justice Kudirat Kekereekun to President Bola Tinubu for appointment as the new Chief Justice of Nigeria. A statement signed by the Director of Information of the Supreme Court, Mr. Soji Oye, says the recommendation is imperative as Justice Olukayode Ariwola will formally bow out of office as the Honorable Chief Justice of Nigeria on Thursday, the 22nd of this month. The statement adds that the Council also recommend 27 candidates for appointment as judges of state courts, and the candidates for appointment as Cadi of the Sharia Court of the FCT Abuja to their various state governors and President Bola Tinubu. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has said the recent Supreme Court's judgment granting full financial autonomy to local government councils will enhance Nigeria's universal basic education system and warns against abuse. He stated this as the public presentation of a book titled Navigating the Politics of Universal Education Policies in Nigeria, written by former Deputy Governor of Ekiti State, Professor Modupe Adelabu, held in Abuja. The Vice President says the autonomy of local governments, which are directly responsible for providing primary education, will address the financial limitations that have hindered the alignment of administrative units with the government's educational agenda.
As the steward of the nation, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is leading the charge to reform the institution tasked with overcoming the ideologies and inadequacies that have prostrated universal education in Nigeria. The lack of autonomy of local governments, which are responsible for delivering primary education, has created significant financial hindrances in aligning administrative units with our educational agenda. However, the recent Supreme Court judgment empowering local government councils to control their resources brings government closer to the people. It provides new hope for our educational initiatives. And as a governor, as a former governor, I won't join in gloating and insulting the governors that they have been castrated from having access to local government funds. Far from it, we need to align with the governors and see that the educational needs of our children are catered for. The local government autonomy should not be abused. It should be used as a fulcrum, as a window, as an avenue for addressing needs at the grassroots level. And without the partnership between the federal government, the state governments, and the local government, very little can be accomplished.
The leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has faulted the explanations by the Nigeria police on why its personnel ransacked its national headquarters in Abuja and is calling for an unreserved apology from the police. Addressing journalists at the NLC Secretariat in Abuja, the head of Communications and Corporate Affairs, Mr. Benson Upa, describes the police allegations of tracing a suspected international criminal to the building as laughable. The NLC also challenges the police to come with proof of any relationship with the alleged criminal. The union leaders are also not backing down on their demand for apology from the police and for the federal government to stop what it calls intimidation and meddlesomeness into the affairs of labor unions, else they will be forced to use everything in their disposal, including strike action, to defend their rights.
The police have since come out to make further comments on the raid instead of an apology. These comments, in our view, are deserving of our response. A statement signed by SCP Olumuyiwa Adejobi claims that the raid, and I'm quoting, had no connection with the NLC Secretariat, staff, or leadership, but a prime criminal suspect in an ongoing investigation traced to a shop within the building, which they claim was on the second floor. Adejobi, in subsequent media interviews, said the suspect is an international terrorist with a long history of destabilizing nations, including Sudan. He made other wide and unsubstantiated claims.
we challenge the police to show proof of our relationship, landlord or otherwise, with this terrorist in quote.
The military has announced an improvement in crude oil production in the wake of renewed efforts of security agencies to curb crude theft and pipeline vandalism in the country. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, who disclosed this, says security forces will continue to sustain the offensive to shore up oil production in order to meet the federal government's target of 2.2 million barrels per day. General Buba adds that during the week under review, troops neutralized 147 terrorists and arrested 381 persons. The troops equally arrested 23 perpetrators of oil theft and rescued 113 kidnapped hostages, just as they denied the oil theft of the estimated sum of 943,161,680 naira.
In the Niger Delta area were being rejigged. They were being rejigged in order to curb crude oil theft and improve our crude oil production in the nation. I'm pleased to state that we have observed some improvements as there is a noticeable increase in the nation's crude oil production. Now, though we are not yet at where we want to be in terms of daily crude oil production, I can say that we are on the right track. Accordingly, troops will sustain the renewed vigor and momentum till the nation's crude oil production target is achieved and exceeded. Meanwhile, for our ongoing operations in other parts of the country, I will say that we remain focused on defeating and killing the enemy wherever they are hiding.
We're still ahead on the news at 10. Debt Management Office set to issue the first series of its dollar-denominated domestic bond on August 19. The target is to raise $500 million from local and foreign investors. That's in business news. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. The Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 12 containers of illicit drugs, unregistered and expired pharmaceutical products worth 1.8 billion naira at the Apapa seaport. Unveiling pharmaceutical products in 12 containers in Apapa, Lagos, the Comptroller General of Customs, Mr. Adewale Adeniyi, reiterates that the service has resolved to prevent any importation that could be detrimental to the health and well-being of Nigerians. Mr. Adeniyi disclosed that some of the containers with pharmaceuticals had expired but did not carry the required NAFDAC number, while adding that another 20-feet container was found to contain cartons of Royal Tramadol concealed with expired cartons of really extra analgesic, antiseptic, and anti-inflammatory tablets without any NAFDAC number. The National Association of Resident Doctors has threatened to embark on a nationwide strike if their colleague, Dr. Ganiat Bola, who was kidnapped by bandits in Kaduna since December the 27th, 2023, is not released by August the 26th this year. The aggrieved medical doctors issued a threat during a peaceful protest held at the National Eye Center, Kaduna State. They are demanding immediate action from the federal government and security agencies to ensure the safe and immediate release of their abducted colleague who was taken away from her residence alongside her husband and nephew.
Bearing placards with different inscriptions and singing solidarity songs, members of the National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, marched around the premises of the National Eye Center, Kaduna, to demand action from the authorities following the abduction of one of their own. The victim, Dr. Ganiat Kupuola, in the Department of Ophthalmology at the hospital. The breastfeeding mother was abducted on December 27, 2023, alongside her husband and nephew at their residence in the staff quarters of the hospital. While her husband was released in March of 2024, the abductors held back the medical practitioner and the husband's nephew after allegedly collecting 16 million naira as ransom.
Unfortunately, as we speak, it's been almost 8 months in few days. Only the husband has been released on the ground of deteriorating health condition after over 2 months of continuous negotiation by the family.
It's been almost 8 months since the abduction, and the doctors believe that all efforts to get the relevant authorities to rescue their member is not yielding any results. They are worried that the insecurity in the country will further encourage the rising migration of medical workers from the country. The issue is a threat to the government.
May be forced to down tools where their negotiation, their parts you should take. You should inform the management, and this press conference and this peaceful protest is part of the things that can lead to it.
Issues of security, there are a lot of things that cannot be divulged in the public space because that will compromise the efforts of the security agents as well as the safety of the people who have been taken away.
However, the State Police Command is promising that efforts are on to ensure the safe return of the health worker.
We are appealing to the members of the public and also the Association of the Medical Doctors. We understand their feelings, and we understand their feelings, and we are calling on them to support us. To support us, by the grace of God, we will try our possible best to ensure that the woman was released unhurt.
The promise from the police is not affecting the decision of the association, as they are determined to down tools by the 26th of August, 2024.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. For more on the news at 10, it's back to you, Ayo, in Lagos.
Thank you so much, Gloria. In Adamawa State, the state government has empowered 10,000 women with 50,000 naira each under its poverty alleviation program. Governor Amadu Fintiri says the second quarter of the empowerment initiative is to make women financially stable and also reduce the effect of economic hardship on the people.
Our leadership had made this day possible.
Ribadu Square, Yola, the Adamawa State's capital, is the venue for the second quarter of the 10,000 Women Empowerment Program, well attended by State Executive Cabinet members, PDP party loyalists, members of the State Assembly, as well as women and youths who are direct beneficiaries of the scheme.
Status of our citizens, particularly women.
The empowerment program is an initiative of Governor Amadu Fintiri's administration to reduce poverty in the state and make residents of the state financially independent.
We are delighted to disburse 50,000 each to 10,000 women beneficiary of Fintiri Wallet program. This initiative is not just a financial assistance scheme, but a demonstration of the governor's commitment to empowering women and fostering economic independence.
The Fintiri Business Wallet initiative has been established with clear mission to provide financial support to small business owners.
All this Speaker of Adamawa State House of Assembly and the state chairman of Algon commend the development strides of Governor Fintiri in the area of education for the provision of additional school buses and also for paying attention to women's needs.
This gesture marks a historic moment in the state. As never before have we witnessed such a large number of women directly benefiting from democratic dividends.
All this you are doing, Your Excellency, is just to ensure that the economic well-being of our citizens improve amidst the economic challenges. That is why you swiftly procured 10 buses to ease transportation across the state.
The executive governor
It's a promise made and a promise kept for Governor Fintiri, and he's willing to do more for the people.
We have kept over 30,000 beneficiaries on monthly stipend of 10,000 throughout our social investment corridor. Last year, we launched the Fintiri Business Wallet for our women. This is a commerce corridor which reinforces our commitment to wrestle poverty and open the doors of thousands of our households to life-saving businesses and prosperity. This indeed is huge onslaught against poverty.
10,000 women receive 50,000 naira each to boost their business, which government believes will in turn reduce the hardship being experienced by residents. The state government says empowerment initiative will be carried out regularly to assist micro, small, and medium enterprises in Adamawa State.
Residents of Lagos will soon experience a better health system following the launch of the Smart Health Information System, SHIP, which took place at the Oriental Hotel in Victoria Island, Lagos. The project is coming on stream in partnership with InterSwitch, a company committed to creating technological solutions to empowering individuals, businesses, and communities.
Between InterSwitch Company and the Lagos State government targeted at accelerating healthcare delivery in the state.
Both primary and secondary.
The convocation here sets the tone for a new dawn in provision of healthcare in Lagos, as accentuated by the Special Assistant to the Governor on Health Matters.
As we embark on this transformative journey, I would like to express my deepest appreciation to all those involved in the development and implementation of this platform, as well as to our partners at ECLAT, InterSwitch. Your dedication and hard work have turned this vision into a reality.
Providing healthcare for over 20 million Lagosians is surely a Herculean task, which the management of InterSwitch says it recognizes and is ready to execute with the government via digital technology platforms.
So we aim to streamline healthcare operations, enhance patient care, and address the fragmentation that currently hinders the efficiency of the hospitals and healthcare service providers.
The Commissioner for Health, Lagos State, Professor Aki Abayomi, in his presentation states the import of the SHIP project.
We're moving into an era of genetic data, into an era where we are capturing very complex information that needs to be processed. It consumes a lot of space and it needs to be stored here. And we're going to be able to translate this data into beneficial information for the management of patients, being able to predict, preempt, and manage their conditions actually before, during, and at the time of management or presentation for care.
The event moves to a panel discussion with stakeholders, giving more insights on moving the health sector forward in the state.
People thinking that technology might replace them, so there is a fear of what will happen to their jobs. And then the safety of the data is also a cause for concern. But because the benefits are multi-layered and multifactorial, as we have heard, we need to overcome those challenges.
At a macro level, there is a bigger benefit, integrating beyond a single facility, for example, which is what SHIP is aimed to achieve.
According to the promoters of the initiative, this partnership between InterSwitch and Lagos State government will in no small measure result in the free flow of data from one health institution to another and provide payment options for patients.
Time now for some business news with Will Evolve.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Ayotunde. The Debt Management Office, DMO, is set to issue the first series of the domestic dollar bond to local and foreign investors. This was made known at the launch of the hybrid roadshow for the bond, which had in attendance the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, the DG of the Debt Management Office, Patience Onia, the Group CEO of the NGS Group, Timi Popola, and other key stakeholders in the Nigerian financial markets.
Gathered at the historic launch of the Series 1 Federal Government of Nigeria dollar-denominated domestic bond are some top government officials as well as key stakeholders in the nation's financial market.
My question is on
the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, who is the keynote speaker at the event, says the $500 million domestic bond, which is certified as being lower risk, targets Nigerians, non-Nigerians residing in the country, as well as Nigerians in the diaspora.
There are Nigerians living in Nigeria whose savings are abroad. This is the time to back your own country. This is the time to buy a well-structured, profitable, safe, competitive investment rather than keeping your money abroad, provided to the Nigerian economy to create jobs and reduce poverty and support the program of macroeconomic reform and job creation that is now going on in Nigeria. That's what this is all about.
Providing further details of the offer, the Managing Director of Investment Banking at United Capital, the lead issue in-house, Mr. Gbadebo Adinrele, explains what the government intends to do with proceeds of the dollar-denominated domestic bond.
It will be invested in some key sectors, critical sectors, that will be approved by the President. So the President has to approve this, but this will be on the recommendation of the Honorable Minister of Finance, and this will be subject to appropriation by National Assembly. So that allows everyone to see that there is due process in this, and more importantly, it is ring-fenced. It's going to key sectors that will develop the economy and allow for increased revenue and, as the Minister has rightly mentioned.
In a question and answer session, the Minister affirms his optimism that this new bond will bolster confidence in Nigeria's financial markets.
It is our expectation, and in fact we are highly confident, that this first series of $500 million will be well accepted and received by the market. We expect it to be fully taken up, and we expect demand to even exceed supply. That's how confident we are in our system, in the talent of our financial operators, and also in the confidence that the financial markets and Nigerian investors worldwide will have in this particular issue of US dollar bonds domestically.
The issuance of the domestic dollar debt security, which is the first of its kind in the country, begins on Monday, August the 19th, and will be listed on the Nigerian Exchange Limited and the Financial Market Dealers Quotation (FMDQ) platforms at a minimum subscription of $10,000 in line with the government's 2029 Eurobond.
And with that, let's check in on the domestic stock market, which is well on its way to recording a red week as it ends the fourth trading day in negative territory. John Mekwa has the details.
Thank you so much, Will. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Another red day is what we had at the close of first this trade at the NGX. Today, the market lost 84 billion naira, and so we see that the market cap is now at 55.1, losing that 500 that we had here. That's a couple of millions of some investors' purse. And for the all share, it's also down 0.10%, 97,100.36. It's been a while since we looked at the gainers and losers. Today, we see representation from the pharmaceutical, from oil and gas, as well as insurance. That's for the gainers. On the flip side, Ondo has been in the news now. I think about 2-3 days now, we've seen drop in the price of O&O. So another drop today, almost 10%, to close at 32 naira 50 kobo. APC Transport also down, as well as livestock. Interesting, you know what has happened around this since the creation of the livestock ministry. But for today, it's profit taking and losing more than 9%. And when you put all of this together in summary, it's still the bear winning the day.
And that's a wrap on business news. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. Here's Simon Pusi with our international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A federal-level emergency situation has been declared for the Russian region of Belgorod after 23 drone attacks in 24 hours. It follows the region's governor introducing a regional-level emergency situation yesterday. This video purporting to show captured Russian soldiers in the Kursk region. President Volodymyr Zelensky said yesterday that Ukrainian troops had advanced 1 to 2 kilometers further into the Kursk region of Russia since Wednesday morning. Russia claimed it had stopped any further advances. The Hamas-run health ministry says that more than 40,000 Palestinians have now been killed as a result of Israeli military action in Gaza since the 7th of October Hamas-led attack on Israel. That number, 40,005 on Thursday, equates to about 1.7% of the 2.3 million population of the territory, another sobering indication of the human cost of the war. Alongside the fatalities, satellite image analysis suggests nearly 60% of buildings in Gaza have been damaged or destroyed since the beginning of the war. In the past few months, the southern city of Rafah has suffered the most damage. The health ministry's figures for the number of people killed do not differentiate between civilians and fighters. A Russian court has sentenced amateur ballerina Ksenia Karelina to 12 years in jail for treason for donating $51 to a charity supporting Ukraine. Karelina, who has American and Russian citizenship, pleaded guilty last week after a trial held behind closed doors. She had been living in Los Angeles and became a US citizen in 2021. She was arrested during a family visit last January in Yekaterinburg, about 1,600 kilometers east of Moscow. More than half of all homes and businesses in Puerto Rico have been left without power following the arrival of Storm Ernesto. The Caribbean island's main power supplier, Luma Energy, said some 998,000 customers did not have access to electricity. Ernesto, which grew into a Category 1 hurricane on Wednesday, is continuing to strengthen, with gusts of up to 85 miles an hour heading further north towards Bermuda, where it is expected to make landfall on Friday. Forecasters predict it could become a major hurricane in the next 48 hours. Thailand's governing coalition says it had agreed to nominate 37-year-old Paetongtarn Shinawatra as a candidate for Prime Minister ahead of a parliamentary vote. Paetongtarn, the daughter of billionaire political heavyweight Thaksin Shinawatra, is leader of Pheu Thai, the biggest party in the caretaker government. Paetongtarn will be nominated for the top job at Friday's special session of Parliament to choose a new premier following the Constitutional Court's dismissal of Srettha Thavisin. The World Health Organization has declared the Mpox outbreak in parts of Africa a public health emergency of international concern. The highly contagious disease, formerly known as monkeypox, has killed at least 450 people during an initial outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It has now spread across parts of Central and East Africa, and scientists are concerned about how fast a new variant of the disease is spreading and its high fatality rate. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the potential for further spread within Africa and beyond is very worrying.
The detection and rapid spread of a new clade of Mpox in eastern DRC, its detection in neighboring countries that had not previously reported Mpox, and the potential for further spread within Africa and beyond is very worrying.
And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the country is entering its golden era and hopes to achieve the goal of a developed India by 2047. In the 98-minute speech, his longest Independence Day speech yet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a crowd of thousands. India's Independence Day celebrations took place at the 17th century Red Fort in New Delhi. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. 7-time Olympian Olufunke Oshonaike says talent is not enough if Nigeria must make a mark at the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. With all 4 Team Nigeria's table tennis players bowing out of the first hurdle at the Paris Games, the table tennis legend wants the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation to discover young players will compete at the 2028 Games and expose them to international competitions. To club football, Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag is concerned his team are not ready for tomorrow's English Premier League opener against Fulham. New signings Matthias de Ligt and Mazraoui only arrived today but will be in the squad. They have had a limited chance to train with their new teammates, leaving ten Hag with a selection dilemma for the game at Old Trafford. On the flip side, Fulham's Portuguese head coach Marco Silva is excited and appears prepared for the challenge at Old Trafford. This will be the 47-year-old's fourth season in charge of Fulham, the longest at any club in his entire managerial career. And that's sports. I am Kelly. Egiga is back to you today.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. The federal government today condemned what it called a fraudulent effort by a Chinese company to take over some jets on Nigeria's presidential air fleet as ordered by a French court in Paris. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Have a good night and please stay safe.